Hello, I'm Mary V. Today, let's talk about playing on the flat of the bow hair or playing at an angle. So I must admit that I always play at an angle, the outside edge of the bow hair. It's the way I was taught, and I've done it for years, and I've adjusted everything to doing that. But it may be that you find you make a better sound, a more positive sound, if you play with flatter hair. So it's really up to you whether your hand is comfortable playing on the flat. You just have to adjust your fingers slightly. So let me show you what it's like moving from an angled bow hand to playing on the flat if you want to make changes. So you really you do it by rolling your thumb like that. Actually, it's a tiny little movement, right? So let me just get a little bit closer. You simply do that. You're just simply very, very slightly changing the angle. Okay? So that's flat and that's angled. So it really is tiny. And I've got to say, it doesn't really make that much difference. It makes hardly any difference to the sound. Except if you're more comfortable, no matter how you're holding the bow, that'll make your violin sound better. So does it make it sound more positive? Does it make it sound better if you play on the flat hair? Not really. So where it does make a massive difference is how bouncy the bow is. Now with flat hair, the bow is much more bouncy. That's my normal angled bow. It makes a difference how tight you have the bow, how much you've tightened it up at the end. I mean, I like to have the bow as loose as I possibly can without it touching the stick. So it really depends on what I play. I'll adjust the bow to be a little bit tighter if I'm doing quite a lot of a piece that's got a lot of off the string. And I'll do a little bit looser if I'm doing a lot of something with a lot of legato. But you don't normally have time to make these adjustments in your hand or your bow. So it's usually the middle way, which is why you want to have a bow hand, a bow hold that does everything for you. Now you could start and decide, no, I want to play everything on a flatter bow. I don't want to play on the edge. That's fine. You can make that choice and develop your playing flatter hair. There's flatter hair, and then with the angle. So you can hear that it doesn't make any difference to the sound, but it makes a difference if you feel it's more comfortable, and if you feel that you can play a mixture of on the string and off the string more easily. That's really where it comes down to. Another thing about playing with more hair, flatter hair, is that people do say that the louder you get, especially on the E string, that if you're playing very loudly, use more hair, play with flatter hair. So let's see if that makes a difference. So with flatter hair first. So that's flat, and then with my normal angle. So I think you can see that it's more a question of hand comfort, and there's really no difference in sound. But the important thing is that you have got a very comfortable bow hold that will do everything at a moment's notice for you, that you're able to make changes on, off, very quickly, like in Preludium and Allegro, the Allegro part. I mean, it's not just playing on the flat or the angle, it's where you're playing the contact point here. So it's really more than one thing. But I don't think that the playing or the flat or the angle really makes the difference. I think it's actually the bow hold that makes a bigger difference, how that is functioning, whether you've got a lot of flexibility. So I would work on the bow hold and make sure that you can go easily from one thing to another and build that up. So there we are, whether to play on the flat or the angle is really completely up to you and how you feel it makes the violin sound comfortable, whether you're hitting the sweet spots by doing that. Every dynamic has a sweet spot and you need to work it out along with bow speed and all these variables. So yes, it's completely up to you really. So I'll leave it there and I hope that's helped, and I'll say bye-bye for now. Bye.